KHEA Radio. It's just after 9 o'clock. I'm excited. I got some friends and some guests that are in studio and zooming in. So the first thing I'm going to do is have Anthony kind of talk up and let us know who we're going to have zooming in today, and we're going to get him introduced.
What's up, everybody? It's Anthony Macaluso. Today we have, I like to call him the artist to the wrestling world, the community, and so much more. It's Mr. Ryan Shaw. So, Ryan, howdy, buddy.
How's it going?
Hey, it's going great. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, so what part of town do you live on?
Spring Woodlands area.
That's much further than we are.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's far from
I
us.
complain about my 4-minute drive. I could only imagine you
Yeah,
driving.
I'm right at the edge of Harris County, Montgomery County, right on the line almost.
Yeah. Okay, so if someone hasn't had opportunity to meet you, give them, I guess, a little bit of your background. What all do you do, and who all have you worked with and for?
Okay, yeah. So I'm a local artist. I used to illustrate children's books. That's how I pretty much got started. I started back in 2009 illustrating. Illustrated 14 different books. I stopped illustrating children's books in about 2018. And I kind of do some minor graphic design work. I design logos for businesses and do branding every now and then. And I mainly just do commissioned artwork. That's what I do. And the last two and a half years or so, I've been doing art for local and actually international wrestlers as well. So that's been a fun thing for me to do because I obviously love pro wrestling. That's mostly what I post about on my social media.
Yeah.
So that's basically kind of what I do in a nutshell.
So I'll tell you, for people that don't know, I found you through a local wrestling group called Loco Wrestling, and I know you're a huge part of them. And you have a character that you play, and you mesmerize every single person that notices you. And if people don't notice you, they don't pay attention to anything. But that's the first time I met you, or first time actually I seen you, and I had no idea who you really were, knew nothing about you. And then I believe Bart started talking about Ryan Shaw, and I was like, oh, I don't even know who this cat is. And then he went into who you were. And then I started looking at all your art through your Facebook page, and was just, I mean, it's amazing what you can do. I had you do some work for my son, and it just started like going from there. And now all the guys and Gardy I know has used you, and it's your work is amazing. But that's kind of the quick story on how I found you. When did you actually get into art? Like, what made you? I guess what made you get into this?
And pretty much my just about my whole life, I've been into cartoons and comic books, and also just drawing. And cool story is I have two brothers, so all three of us can draw. It's really crazy. It's like a family talent. My older brother is just like out. You think my stuff's great? His stuff's just like out of the world crazy. And it's weird because we're so similar. He's in the heavy metal scene, so he does a lot of album covers. He's done stuff for Anthrax and just all kinds of big bands, like a lot of death metal stuff. But I do stuff for wrestling. And then the younger brother just draws for fun, but we all three can draw. So that's kind of how I got started into the art world at a very young age. I would get in trouble at school for drawing, and now I get paid for it. So.
Right?
Teacher's like, you'll never amount to anything with this artwork.
Yeah, I used to get that all the time.
Now look at you, world known.
So was your family into wrestling as well? Or your brothers into that? When did you get into that?
Not really, dude. Well, actually, yes. One family member, my uncle down in Mexico, actually used to wrestle, and then he ended up reffing later. And every time we go to Mexico, he'd take me to like lucha shows, or we'd watch it, and then I'd bring him tapes of WCW or WWF, and we'd just trade, VHS tapes back then of wrestling. And I just got really into it just as a kid. My first experience where wrestling blew me away was WrestleMania 3. The slam heard around the world. I went across the street to my friend's house, and they had WrestleMania 3 on. And I'll never forget when Hogan lifted Andre. That's what got me hooked right there. That's the moment that got me hooked into wrestling. So I've been into it since I was a little dude.
Yeah. And so that was, I mean, how long ago was that? When was WrestleMania 3?
80, I think it's 87,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. 86 or 87, something like that.
Before Anthony
I'm
started watching
old.
wrestling.
Man.
You look young and you're young at heart.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I just have fun, man. That's just what it's all about. Hey, and I wanted to give a big shout out to a few guys. Thomas Barnes is a big reason
He's an amazing
why
follow on Facebook.
I'm in the wrestling community. Period. He used to ref for UPW and TASW, and he should be coming back. We've been egging him on to come back, but Thomas Barnes, without him, I wouldn't even be on here right now. And Jaime Martinez that runs Loco Wrestling, and Lowrider. I got to give those three guys a big shout out for believing in me, letting me do my thing. They just let me do my thing, and it's awesome. And I'm glad to help them out. Big shout out to Bart Harris and two more guys. I got to be generous here. Nate Slater and Jesse Logan, man, two of the nicest guys I know in wrestling, two of the nicest wrestlers that make me feel like family, and just love those guys.
All good people for sure.
Yeah.
Earlier you mentioned that a lot of the work you do now is commission work. Anthony said that he had you do some work, and that was over like the holiday season. Who all were you able to work for? I saw you got to work with some pretty interesting people who've done amazing things that everybody looks up to.
Dude, so yeah, recently I did a commission for a guy named Kevin Eastman, who's one half of the creative team that created Ninja Turtles. That was really exciting for me because he ended up giving me a shout out on his page, and he ended up following me. So that's like a huge, I mean, I was marking out, dude, big time when he, when he posted that. And when his wife contacted me, I thought that was awesome. I just couldn't believe it. And another kind of big name that I'm really good friends with. I don't know how old you guys are, but back in the day on PBS, there used to be a drawing show. This also got me into drawing. Is called Secret City, and this guy named Commander Mark, he'd wear a spacesuit, and he would teach kids how to draw. And I'm blown away by his art. He had this big mural, and he'd fill it all out. Well, man, about 2015, I got a message from him out of nowhere. He's like, "Hey, I see your stuff online and I love it." And I was like, "Commander Mark? No way." I was like, "Dude, this is wild." And he was like, "Yeah, you live in Houston area?" He's like, "I do too." And I didn't know he lived in Houston. I thought he lived somewhere else.
Space.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I went to his house and we just hit it off, and we're like really good friends. I've done work with him. I used to do summer camps with him and stuff. We'd go to New Mexico and all these different places. Really good guy, really good friend. So that's like another big name person. I also do comic book conventions a lot. So I get to meet a lot of artists that I grew up worshiping. And I have really great experiences with that too. So it's a fun life. I love it.
Yeah. Is that a little intimidating? You know, Kevin Eastman's wife says, "Hey, can you draw our family, I guess incorporate the Ninja Turtles and do this other stuff?" And it's like, I am drawing
something that your husband created. Yeah.
He created this. It's the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. So I'm not going to lie. Yeah. I got a little bit of nerves working up when she first contacted me. I was really nervous at first, but that wore off because I was super excited. I was just so blown away by it. I called my older brother, who's he's as big a geek as I am with comics and all that. And we grew up reading the original comics, which aren't for kids, and we still got our hands on them. And he was just blown away by it. I mean, he was posting it on his Instagram too. It's really cool. It's like the nerves kind of go away because I end up getting excited, just like when I meet really big name comic book artists, and the ones that are really cool and want to sit down and talk with you. You soak up info from like a sponge.
Mm-hmm. You know? I was bragging about it myself to my friends. I said, "Yeah, check out this awesome logo I just got done." He also just did some work for Kevin Eastman, you know, the guy who created the Ninja Turtles. You've probably heard of him, right? They were impressed as well. They like the logo that you did for
Oh,
me.
that's awesome, man. No, I appreciate it, man. It was a surreal moment for sure. It still blows me away that I did that.
Hmm. So, like, what? I mean, there's a lot of commission work. For
Yeah.
you, what does the rest of this year look like? Just keep doing commission. I mean, incorporate
Yeah,
more
dude,
wrestling.
just nonstop wrestling work. It's weird how it works for me. Uh, it's very unpredictable, and a lot of times, like when I start getting nervous, I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? There's nothing coming in. All of a sudden, everything just hits me at once. I'll get like 20 different people hitting me up out of nowhere. So it's weird. It's a weird roller coaster ride. So I go to a lot of shows now. Shows are coming back. I'm gonna admit I was gonna go to BrazzCon, which is a fun show. I love that show. It's for high school students, but man, they come in there. They have so many questions. A lot of the students they check out the art, they buy it. They come ready to buy art. They love it. It's a great time. I'm on a panel, and I just get to kind of talk to them about the ins and out of what I do. And so yeah, I rely on a lot of shows and commission work and everything else that comes my way.
What about having time for art for yourself? Is
That I don't have as much as I used to.
But if you
Yeah,
did have that time, what is it that you would work on?
man, I love just doing fan art. I hardly create my own stuff, but I love drawing the characters that I love the most. So I love, like, obviously my background's Batman Beyond, but that's like a print I did for a show. But I love drawing characters that I love. I love Ninja Turtles, obviously. Do a lot of wrestling art, of course, and I sell a lot of fan art at shows. So I'll color stuff with alcohol markers and colored pencils, and just I sell a lot of original work and I sell a lot of prints.
Where can
But that's
people get your artwork? If you obviously, do you do stuff for online and you just sell it off your webpage or anything?
Yes, you can go to my website and you can put orders in that way. It's cartoon u.com, cartoon-u.com. You can check out, I have a gallery in there. I need to update it. There's so many. That's the thing about running your own business is it's you know about this, Anthony. It's way more work than people realize,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're a one-man operation like me. I have an awesome wife that helps me out, like set up at shows and stuff, but everything else is on me. Everything. So you work 12-hour days, dude, just having to do so many different things.
And then you
And it's
lay in
not
bed
just
for the rest of the time thinking about what you didn't do.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just art. It's like, what I need to update my website. I need to change this out. I got quarterly taxes. I got all, it's like everything. And people are like, well, why don't you hire an accountant? Well, you're going to pay for it. It's like, I got to get up to that level where I can get a team. But right now it's just me.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work.
What else do you do, I guess, to decompress? Like I think of computer work. You're
Yeah.
staring at a computer and the same thing, if you're drawing or working on a tablet or whatever you're doing, it's a lot on the brain, so rest your eyes. What do you find, relaxes you?
I love watching wrestling, obviously. So I watch a lot. If I have time, I'll watch wrestling. I make time for it usually. I'll watch like AEW and stuff, but I also like every now and then I'll play a video game or two. Um, I love uh, I love kind of, I don't really like RPG stuff, but I love like sports games. I love Rocket League a lot. Man, that's like one of my favorite games.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have time, I'll do that. I also play a lot of disc golf, which is goofy looking. It's so goofy, just throwing a frisbee around and it's like hitting a net, but it's fun. It's just, you just walk around the park, just, crack open a beer and just throw a disc at some chains. So
Yeah.
that's usually what I do, stuff like that.
Well, I think of the
Also
what?
do a podcast.
Oh, what is
I
it?
was, I was about to bring that up, man.
Yeah, I forgot to bring that up. I was talking about Thomas Barnes. So Thomas Barnes, Jaime Martinez, Jesse Logan, and myself have a podcast called Cheap Pops Radio. It's a little bit more on the adult side, a lot of skits.
It's very
We
funny.
do have people in. We have really great guests that come in the wrestling world. We also have like some very interesting guests, like psychics and just wild stuff that you just wouldn't believe that's on the internet. People that do crazy stuff. So it's kind of like a old school Howard Stern, maybe a tad bit like that, but then it's comedy at the same time. So Check it out. It's on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Cheap Pops Radio.
I just got
So
through
that's the other
the
thing I do
Halloween
on
one
this.
yesterday. I finished it. My drive to work is like 2 minutes, so it takes me forever to finish podcast, but I did just finish that one.
Yeah, it's a little crazy, but yeah, it's fun, and that's where like you're bringing up the $20 man stuff. That's a lot what I do with that. I do that character on there, and then
Is that
Loco
how that
Wrestling.
became?
Actually, dude, the thing with $20 man's a funny story. That happened, no pun intended, about 20 years ago, and my friends and I would cut promos like wrestling promos at their house, and we'd film it just like the backstage promo,
Mm-hmm.
trash talking stuff, and I wanted to come up with this character, and I was like, instead of the $1 million man, he's going to be this broke down looking joke called the $20 man. But he didn't look anything like what you see now. He had a big afro and like sunglasses and like a glittery tuxedo. And then years later, I was on this wrestling fan page, and they had like about 2 years ago, this wrestling fan page had like a promo contest for people to cut promos on each other, and they had a contest, and I did the $20 man thing, but I was like, man, I want to make him kind of like a Jim Cornette broke down looking just used car salesman type thing. And I did it, and like, man, I shot up to the top immediately. And like everybody was like, all right, yeah, you already won this thing. And then my buddy Thomas saw it, and he's like, oh dude, we got to get you in wrestling, dude. This is crazy. And so it kind of just took off from there.
I think I saw something similar. I know Steven Stellar was cutting promos, and you'd go on likes, and they would do a bracket and matchups. It's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. There's a ton of group pages on Facebook that do that, but I got kind of bored with it, so I just left it. And then, man, ever since the before the COVID stuff hit, I did a show, Rumble in the Garden. It was a funny spot, dude. I came in and was talking trash, and El Silencio was about to beat me up, and then Twan came in and saved me, and I messed it all. It's funny. I'll have to send that to you later so you can check it out.
Did you ever want to wrestle?
Um, I always wanted to be a manager. I
Yeah.
love Bobby the Brain Heenan. That's like my number one favorite manager of all time, and then Jim Cornette right up there with him. Those two guys are like my favorite managers. I always loved the managers. I don't know why that was. I always was a skinny guy and had little toothpick arms and toothpick legs, so I don't think the wrestling would have gone right for me. But the managers, I love them. Like Paul Heyman, he's like the one of the last greats in
Yeah,
my opinion.
I agree.
Who would you
Yeah.
like to work with? You know, if somebody commissioned you, who would be a dream, whether that's a wrestler, a promotion, or just an artist's wife reaching out to you? Who would you like to work with?
Oh man, wrestling wise, I think right now, man, there's so many. I'm so greedy. I like so many of them nowadays. Man, I'm a huge Sammy Guevara fan. If he came, and I see him every now and then. He's such a nice guy. But if he ever reached out to me to do some art for him, I would love that. And I've had some pretty big names come my way. It's pretty awesome. But he would be really, like, currently would be like, it'd be phenomenal to do something for him because he's so over right now.
Mm-hmm. He had an amazing match last night with Cody.
Oh, that was an amazing way to start the show. I
I,
mean, that's incredible.
I love the match, but I'll be honest, I geeked out when Danhausen showed up.
Oh, everybody did.
I'm such a
No,
huge fan of him, and then he just pulls out of the ring, so it made me super happy.
everybody did. Yeah, AEW is not perfect by any means, but they're having fun. You can tell those guys are having fun. I love when promotions, because it's really an art, guys. I mean, we all
Mm-hmm.
know that. I love when promotions and people running things let guys get creative and kind of do their thing, and it shows. It
Yeah,
shows with the
the
AEW.
shows are way better, and that you can just tell on their face that they're, like you said, they're having fun.
Yeah,
And then when you watch other things, you can tell they're not having fun. And that's
yeah,
the hard
exactly. And
part.
the crowd energy is really there. You see you hear it. You hear the crowd energy. It's just a fun time. So it's cool. I love all wrestling. People like nowadays, especially wrestling fans, man, a lot of them are just so negative. And my thing is, like, I just support wrestling. I want all wrestling to be good. That's all. I want everybody to do well. and that's pretty much it with wrestling. I love it. I want everybody to do well with it.
That's what I love about like indie wrestling is those guys. Yeah, they want to make a name for themselves, but they're out there to have they're there more to have fun than they are to make money. And like you said,
Yeah,
the crowd is what brings you in. I've told numerous stories about going to Loco. My first Loco show wasn't really long ago, and I
yeah,
believe it was man, last year I guess it was the GCW show. That's what it was. So
that was a great show.
yeah, it was, and it's coming back too. So that's even cooler.
Yeah,
But
February 4th.
February, we got. Oh no, we're February 3rd. But the excitement in everybody's voice. If you've never been to a Loco show, you have to at least experience once, just because the crowd is insane, and it's the same exact people every time. You see the same group of people, and a lot of them go to different. Like I go to a ton of independent shows, and a lot of those guys and girls are at the same exact shows,
Hmm.
but they're real calm if they go to a UPW show. But when you go to a
Yeah.
Loco show, it's insane. I don't know what it is. It's the environment. Just people go ballistic. I think it's
You
the
know what?
tacos.
You know what it is with Loco? It's a party that happens to have wrestling going on in it. It really is. It's a party vibe.
Yeah, I dig
And
it.
it's a little edgier. It's almost like ECW, old school ECW meets Lucha Libre.
Yeah.
And you can tell those guys, it's like Jaime and Lowrider, just like do your thing, make you. I just want to see you shine, and that's what I love about Jaime and Lowrider is like these guys, like Ninja Max on fire. He's going to Japan soon, and it's like you see Jaime like just throwing out so much love and support for those
Yeah, I
guys,
mean, he
and
was just in New
it,
York, and I thought that was super cool that you seen him over at the Manhattan Center because you
yeah,
had who was all there? You had Ninja Mac, you had Dante, and then Sam
Sam
Stackhouse,
Stackhouse, dude,
and
yeah.
that's awesome. And it's cool for us as fans to see. You're like, man, I just seen him last night in Houston, and now they're over here doing this, and that's exactly what happened. They were at Loco Friday night.
Yep.
Saturday, we were talking to somebody, and they were like, "Yeah, we're flying out," and we were trying to get somebody for UPW, and he said, "Yeah, we're flying out. We'll call you on Monday." And next night, you see them; they're fighting on pay-per-view for
It's amazing. It's
GCW. Yeah, it's
amazing.
awesome.
Hey,
GCW.
and
Go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut in, but man, and big shout out to UPW, dude, because the thing I love about UPW is it takes me back in time, dude, in a good way. It's like it's back when wrestling. It's great for the kids, dude, because you see it in the kids, the energy in the crowd from the kids, man. It's something great to take your kids to, and you feel it's that classic good guy bad guy struggle. With like Blade Enterprises, got that NWO vibe to it. They're taking over. It's fun. It's a fun time. It's just great family fun. I love it.
I,
I just love wrestling.
I mess with Bart all the time, and he gets so mad at me because I always portray him as this bad guy, and
He
he's
doesn't
not.
want that.
He
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 does not want
he
that.
hates. He called me last night at like 7:30, and we talked about what we were going to talk about today. And at
Yeah.
the very end, I said, "I promise I'll be nice to you," and all he did was laugh. Because he knows it's probably a lie, but this is definitely what I'm doing. Bart is a great promoter. He's super old school, and I've been fortunate that when he allowed Chevy and I to come in and kind of help, I don't want to say help guide or whatever, but UPW has grown in the last year and a half that we've been
It has.
involved, and it's insane to watch it, but it's exactly what the kids, that's what I love. I will sit and be silent on the microphone just to watch kids their faces when Jesse Logan, for instance, one of my best friends who's probably listening, but his son nonstop wears a Jesse Logan shirt, and anytime Jesse Logan shouts him out on Facebook or if they're in the crowd, he knows his name and he'll talk about him or
Mhm.
whatever. And it's that little thing that keeps kids involved until they're adults. That's what it was for me. I remember watching my grandpa watch wrestling. We went our very first show. I'm showing my age. I'm younger ish, but Nate Laws was there, and my grandpa loved Nate Laws. Um, and I just remember the excitement he had, and that brought me excitement. And now my son, all he wants to do is watch wrestling, and I love it. I mean, it's just a full circle.
That's awesome.
So
See, yeah, that's cool. You keep it in the family. It's a tradition. And yeah, like you said, man, I love seeing those kids like Saturday. That was a great time. Those kids were just loving. They were just yelling. getting in Matt Locke's face. He's getting right back in their face.
Yeah, he was.
We can't
It's
talk
just
about
classic.
Matlock.
All we needed was like a grandma with a big purse to start swinging it at them.
So
it's
we
like
had
that
the
would have
man.
made it really old school.
I don't know if you've seen the man with the cane. That got me.
Yeah.
So did you see the man with the cane?
So I didn't see it, but one of the guys who was running camera came back and asked me and said,
Yeah.
that guy broke that
So-
gentleman's cane.
so-
Was that part of the show?
So he broke the cane, and then the gentleman stood up and grabbed the tip of the cane. Some kid handed him just like this 5-inch piece of a cane, and he started walking with it. It killed me. I cut the mic off and was dying. And Chevy was like, "What are you watching?" And I seriously, I will watch 10% of matches and 90% of fan reaction. And I'll be honest, when we go to Loco, 90% of my time is watching to see what $20 Man's going to do every time, because you don't know what to expect out of the crowd. And with you, I guess, Ryan, it's funny because you as yourself is completely different than $20 Man. When I first met you, when I seen you, like your real face, I guess, you look completely different because you wear a wig and you just your get-up's completely different than how you actually are. And that's all.
Yeah, I truly do become somebody else. I don't even feel like I'm myself anymore. Funny story about that is Johnny Blade did a Loco show a couple of shows back, and I shook his hand. And then later, like I think the next day or two, Johnny messaged me and he goes, "Dude, I didn't know you were $20 Man." He's like, "I feel like such an idiot. I can't believe that." He's like, "I was looking at a picture of you, and then I looked at a picture of $20 Man, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's you." It's like
Superman Clark Kent.
It is. It's exactly what it is, because if you know him as Ryan, and don't know him as $20 Man, and if you meet them both, you're like, wow, this is two completely different people.
Yeah. So is $20 Man Superman and Ryan is Clark Kent, or is it the other way around?
That way, because like the glasses, I guess, really do shield your face. It's great, man. But the thing with the $20 Man stuff, I have so much fun with it because every show, I have no clue what's going to happen. Just stuff happens. Like the last one, I got knocked down on my back and I started like shaking uncontrollably. And then Carlos jumped the rail, like a couple of chairs to help me out and do CPR on me. But the way he did it was like on Dumb and Dumber, grabbing my legs back and forth. And like $20 Man was just flopping around like a fish. It was so
supposedly
funny.
There's a video around, and Chevy was actually supposed to send me that.
I tagged him in it.
I heard it was comical.
I'll send it to you, dude. It's crazy.
Carlos is another person that I've actually never met him, but you talk about a wrestling fan. There can be 10 shows in one day, and somehow he is at every show. I don't know how it is, but he is at every single show.
He's a super fan, and that's a good thing about that guy is he does what I wish more people would do in the wrestling community in general, even the big stuff. Just support wrestling, and he does. He gives every promotion in the Gulf Coast area just about a shout out all the time.
Because I know for a fact Loco was Saturday night as well, or no, they had something at Premiere. I can't remember which promotion it was. And they were there. Him and Stoney were there, and then they showed up at UPW during the show already. And I'm just like, man, these guys, it's the same. I'm telling you, it's the same group of guys that you see at every promotion, and I think it's awesome. And it doesn't matter where it's at.
I love it. It's like you see Raxo at Loco the night before, and then you see him at UPW the next day. I mean, it's cool. It's cool to see these guys like all over the place and doing well and putting on a show for the fans, no matter what kind of environment it is, and they know how to adapt, and they know what to do and not. It's just great to watch. I love it.
Okay, so earlier you said something about UPW having the more, good guy versus bad guy, which is like the NWO, WCW type vibe. I saw Kiefer Bartek put a Facebook status out 2 days ago, and it said, "In your opinion, what is old school wrestling?" And I just went and looked and had a bunch of comments and a bunch of different things. So I wanted to ask both of you, what is, in y'all's opinion, what is old school wrestling?
So my age group is WCW, NWO, the Attitude Era kind of deal. That I like the 83 weeks thing. I'm a huge podcast person, but those, for me, that's what I'm 36, so that's what I was brought up with in the 90s. I am a huge WCW fan, and I think that's why AEW attracts me so much more than WWE, because it's less scripted, it's more grungy, I guess, and I hate to say grungy. That's my answer.
What about you, Ryan?
That's a good answer. Mine's very similar to that. I'm a little older. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. And WWF was more for kids back then. Like that's what reminds me of UPW. I get that that feeling of being a kid again. I love it. That's what I love about UPW. But WWF was that classic good guy, bad guy thing. And then in the 90s, it started getting edgier, which I love because I was, already a teenager by then. And the NWO, like the old school wrestling to me is storytelling. That's it's a lost art almost in wrestling. AEW is kind of doing good buildups right now. They got like the Wardlow MJF thing. To me, that's an underrated buildup that no one talks about.
It's
That
great.
guy's going to blow up eventually on everybody, and it's going to be epic when he does it. He's going to power bomb that whole group and walk away, I bet. But I love buildups. I love old school WWF back when the feuds would happen, the road to WrestleMania. There'd be epic stories, even all the way through the Attitude Era. I love the storytelling, and I miss that. I miss that. The buildups were just classic all the way through even the early 2000s. There was still good stuff going on.
See, and
But
I feel that like they either so AEW to me they do have some good buildups, but they cut them. That the Eddie Kingston and CM Punk one was an amazing buildup, and if you knew the history, it would have been great. But it's like they get the match done within 2 weeks and it's done. Or on the flip side, you'll have WWE who will do 15 weeks of the same buildup, so you get burnt out. And there's no happy medium anywhere now. And that's, I think, in local wrestling, that's what I like because they'll carry those on to 3 or 4 different shows. So, yeah, it may be 3 months, but it's actually just 4 shows. And I dig that a lot. I can't stand, we have a feud right now, and at the end of the show, it's done. I'm
I
with
don't
you.
like that either. I think a lot of it has to do with today's I don't know the right word I'm looking for. Maybe the climate or it's the attention span. People have zero attention spans anymore. And I think the internet played a big part of it. Internet changed wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, because we go back to WCW, and when Scott Hall showed up on Nitro that night, I'll never forget that. That felt so real because no one knew it was coming.
Absolutely.
No one had a internet. I mean, we had internet back then, but it was just coming out back then, like
Dial up.
Well, you really thought that like I remember that, but when Nash power bombed Eric Bischoff in that stage, I think it was Stampede or something like that. Yeah. I on the reel was like, I can't believe that they're allowing these people in this arena over and over when they work for another promotion,
Exactly. And they would allude to it, they would allude to it, and you felt it, that was real. It felt so raw. That's what's great about AEW is it feels raw. You said grungy. It's more of a raw, not so produced and polished thing. And I love that. That's what I love about Loco. It's just straight up just wrestling, and we just do our thing. And if you like it, cool. If you don't, it's cool too. And that's the vibe I get.
When people get on the mic and they cut their promo, and then they keep their promo going in the ring, you know what I mean? Kind of like with their art. That's what I like. I'm a big promo person. I think that's what really, to me, that's what wrestling is. Obviously, the wrestling is great, but if you can talk on the mic, to me, that's beautiful.
It's a skill.
It is. It's intense, and I'm learning that. Unfortunately, on the crash course with UPW, I've always done announcing, but I've never done wrestling announcing. In my head, I can do it, but trying to get it out to the words in the microphone is completely different. And I look at Johnny Blade. I'm going off script. Johnny Blade is one of the best people on the mic. I know I seen your face.
What? Yeah.
I love Johnny Blade. I don't care what anybody says.
As a person, I can't stand him. But Johnny Blade, Jason Sullivan, Matlock, those 3, if you put a microphone in any of those guys' hands, I'll never say a word. I'll just listen to all 3 of them. And it's funny how they are all together, but their mic work it's untouchable. And I in the independent scene, I haven't really found anybody that can do it. They may not be the cleanest people, but their mic work is amazing.
Hey, they're just doing whatever it takes, man. You leave those guys alone. But,
I am not a Blade Enterprise fan, obviously.
No, like the thing about Johnny Blade is whenever I'm at a show he's at, I study him. I watch him because I if I had another chance in life, I would have been a wrestling manager. I would have trained and gone to wrestling school for it and stuff. But I watch him, I study him. I love watching what managers do, and he's just such a natural. I mean, like when he gets caught like hitting guys by the ref, he's like, I was just defending myself. Or, it's great. I love it. He's a natural.
In my Johnny Blade voice, that was like perfect.
Yeah.
I can hear that coming out of his mouth.
But it's so true. I mean, and he is what Bobby Heenan was. I mean,
awesome.
Bobby Heenan is way better, obviously, but Johnny's just
Bobby
so
Heenan's
clean.
like the Mount Rushmore of wrestling managers, in my opinion. I just like it doesn't get any better than that guy. I haven't seen it since his time. It's just amazing.
Here's a comment that came in on Facebook. This is from Mr. Nate Slater. He said it's not too late, and that's to you, Ryan.
Brother, I was about to say something. Ryan, I'm sure there is 50 gentlemen out there and females that would say, be our manager. So it's never too late.
I kind of want to do is see what $20 man would be like. Somebody gets some. It's weird with him. He gets like major heat sometimes by certain people, but then he's like a lovable loser. It's really great.
Because we all relate.
We all
relate,
dude.
right?
I always, and I've told this story before. One of my first times I seen you as $20 man, there was this shirt up in the Raptor, and you were just trying to get it for this person. And just your whole, I mean, I watched the entire thing. You're trying to get it with your cane that somebody just broke right before, and you were so defeated that your cane was broke because you couldn't walk. And then you're climbing.
Muertes broke it, dude.
It did. It was just. It's just I've seen there's pictures or a video. I don't know where you were. I think you were at the fountains in Houston, and you were just. And then you went, I think, to a fair or whatever. But yeah, there is people out there that would pay to have $20 man. If I ever got into wrestling, $20 man would be my manager, 100%.
I'd love it, man. I'd love it. But yeah, I love what I do with Loco. It's fun, man. We have the $20 corner. We just get really rowdy, and crazy, and I call them my $20 disciples, and we go crazy. It's a fun time. It's just a party. Man, funny story too, man. I thought I was actually going to get murdered by Mickey Knuckles because
she's
It
intimidating.
was like a hair versus mask match, and she lost her hair, but they had clippers going, and $20 man kept yelling, "Take the guard off!" And she said, I didn't hear her, but she said, "Say it one more time." And she had like a light bulb, like a cut up light bulb in her hand. She said, "Say it one more time." And $20 man didn't even skip a beat. He's like, "Take that guard off." And he turned around, dude, and I can't even repeat what she said on air right now, but I literally saw my life flash before my eyes. She was coming through the ropes. And
you're like, "Where's my disciples?"
Yeah, we're going to have $20 security coming up here soon.
Man, could you imagine those guys? If $20 man paid for them, they wouldn't be good.
What they'd be like? They'd be like Jericho back in the day with Ralphus.
Oh, man. I love that story, though. The story of Ralphus is amazing because he was legit the truck driver for WCW.
Yeah.
And Jericho just fell in love with him.
Oh, it's a great time for wrestling back then. I love that stuff.
So is Miss $20 man, is she in the wrestling or no? Because I did see she made an appearance.
She is, dude. She's big time into wrestling, but her favorite of all is New Japan. She watches New Japan like
that's amazing.
As she can.
That's super cool.
Yeah, she's into it.
Okay, so earlier, whenever we were talking about that classic wrestling, NWO, WCW, at that time, whenever it was happening, were y'all fans of NWO or were you WCW?
I was WCW.
Me too.
Not me. I love the bad guys.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, man, I was all about Hulkamania and Ultimate Warrior, all that stuff. But as I got older, I love the heels. I love the heat they get. Like if I was in the wrestler, I would always love to be booed and get that. Like I love watching Matt. We were talking about Matt Block earlier. That guy gets major heat. I love what he does. I love seeing him get squared up in people's faces. It's great. It's great to see heels work like that and get under people's skin like that. I love that kind of stuff.
So we'll go behind the curtain real quick. So kids, if you're listening, turn this off. There was a show, Matt Locke, actually, he grabbed the popcorn out of my kid's hand. He's 4 years old. Threw it on the ground. Matt didn't know that was my son, nor did he probably care, but Johnny took him to the back and was like, "Hey, dude, that was Macaluso's kid." So Johnny, being nice, came out and gave my son some popcorn, and then Matt came out, and he I think, tried to apologize. He told my son to kick him. So my son kicked him or whatever, and they were eating popcorn. Then Matt was like, I can't really say what he said on there either, but it was in the scheme of be bad in school, don't listen to your parents, and maybe take some drugs. And I'm like, that is him being nice. Trying to be nice and apologetic, but it came out so awful, and that's something that Matt Locke is an amazing heel. I don't care anybody in this scene that tries to heel it up. You're not getting the heat that Matt Locke does, and all you have to do is, or all he has to do is walk out of that curtain, and people are booing him. He doesn't have to pick up a microphone.
Yeah, dude, he's so good at that. Another good local guy, El Silencio, man.
Oh my
God, he's on as a heel. He gets some major heat, dude. I love it.
So when they first started in UPW, they were heels, and something turned. I don't know what it was. The fans just fell in love with them. And I'm a face guy. I love the good guys. As much as I try to act like I like bad guys, it's the good guys for me. And they're so good as good guys, and I know that them as a tag team, we laugh because El Silencio tries to get people to be quiet all the time, but then he tries to get everybody rowdy, and his name is just kind of like, it's like an oxymoron. But yeah, those two together are they're amazing.
Mm-hmm. How do y'all feel about people defending other titles, the titles promotion at a different promotion?
I love it.
I like it.
I think
I'm all for it.
Yeah,
I think
it builds the brand.
Need to cooperate more. I think it'd be great for wrestling if all promotions just work together. Can you imagine like super shows and things like that? It'd be awesome.
I like it, but then on one hand, I'm like, there's no way they're going to drop the title at someone else's promotion. I just want everybody to lose the title at someone else's promotion because it would be unexpected.
So, it did happen. Look at Kenny Omega with the TNA championship or Impact championship and in ECW, or not ECW, AEW. So AEW is real big with that, and I know that now WWE is trying it. And I don't really get excited for WWE pay-per-views. I'm stoked about Saturday because I know. Word on the street is Jericho's supposed to make an appearance, and if that does, that opens up the door to so much stuff. Because if you can bring some of those WWE guys to AEW, because there's some really good ones with really bad skits going on, that if they went to AEW, it would be completely different for them. And I think everybody working together would make the wrestling world so much easier and so much fun.
Amen. I agree with that 100%. And yeah, the Jericho showing up, it'll break the internet if that happens. But I'm also excited about the Brock Lesnar Bobby Lashley match. I've been wanting to see that.
That's been 20 years in the making. They've always said they were going to do it, and then it never happened. One would leave or whatever. But no, this is going to be really cool.
See, that's the thing with me is like I can't watch the weekly WWE shows, but I'll check out the pay-per-views every now and then, just because it's a little more wrestling than the goofy stuff they do during the week.
I laugh because I watch a 3-hour Raw in about 12 minutes. I will cut some promos, watch the promos real quick. If they bore me, then I'm through it, and then I'll watch matches I want. And that's what stinks, man. And that's what I'm saying. There's so many good people in that organization, but it's so scripted that it doesn't feel real. And I don't know. I laugh because, like, I always say, I'm going to catch a seizure from the way their camera moves.
That's one of the things that's really weird when they throw punches and stuff. The camera shakes in and out, and I'm like, whoa, what is happening here? But like I said, man, I want WWE to do well. I'll always root for it. It's just not the same from when we were coming up. It feels weird when I watch it. But they have an amazing roster, even with all the cuts they've done.
It's crazy how many they have.
Yeah, it's an amazing roster, and I just want to see everybody do well.
I tell you, my favorite person in WWE, and it's been that for years, is Kevin Owens. I would love to see Kevin Owens come back as Kevin Steen, just to his lower promotion stuff was amazing, and if they would just let him do that in WWE, it would be off the charts.
It'd be money. Like, I'm a huge KO fan. Been for years. Love that guy. Amazing athlete.
What else you got, Anthony?
I could talk all day.
Talk about wrestling.
I could talk about wrestling all day.
Same here.
So, one thing that I like, so Ariel Helwani, he used to work, I think he had a contract with ESPN. He recently switched to a different promotion. He does great interviews. I look up to him and watch all his stuff. It's entertaining. but one thing he started to cover was professional wrestling. So Bobby Lashley, he has an interview with him. But it's interesting seeing how like mainstream people who follow traditional sports and follow him for that react whenever they do bring in wrestling, because wrestling is mainstream, but it's not like football mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like even boxing, mainstream, I guess. I guess, is it good for it to get more mainstream? Yes and no, or what do y'all think?
So I think people portray wrestling as fake. And when people say that, I'm like, get in the ring, go 1 minute with, and I'll use Sam Stackhouse because he's such a big guy. Go 1 minute with that
Stackhouse
guy, because you think that this guy's overweight and out of shape. He will run you down for that entire 1 minute. And I don't want to get hit by him. I don't want to get landed on by him. None of that stuff.
None of it.
So it's not fake. Do they choreograph some stuff? Yeah, probably. But wrestling to me, and this is going to sound stupid, but wrestling to me is still real. I love the art, as you call it. The art is amazing.
What do you think, Ryan?
It's still real. It's still real to me. That's all I got to say. It's real. When people say it's fake, I just look at them like they're crazy because it's real.
Yeah.
And it's one of the realest things I know out there. It's the people are awesome. The fans are awesome when they're at the shows. It's a dedicated fan base, and wrestling has been pretty mainstream at points. Like in the 80s, it was big time mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
You had MTV crossovers. It was massive in the 80s. And then in the late 90s with the NWO stuff and the Attitude Era, it got big again. It was white hot in the late 90s. And right now it's kind of in a weird period, but there's a dedicated fan base. There always will be.
I think with, all these guys, they're doing the movies and stuff, and that kind of keeps it more mainstream. But yeah, I think it's died down a lot. I watch ratings. I'm real big into that stuff too. And the numbers are so down. I mean, it's still like 1.5 million to 2 million viewers, but it's still not as many as 13 million when on just a regular Monday night for Raw or Nitro back in those days. But I still think it's climbing, and if they open that door where everybody can intermingle with different organizations, I think it would boom. Everybody would succeed from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that hurt WWE for 20 years was the lack of competition. They got stagnant with it. And wrestling's better when we have more options because you have a little bit of everything. You have a little edgier stuff that maybe, older folks want to watch. And you have the kid-friendly stuff with WWE. You could watch, sit down with your kids and watch and not have to worry about anything. So it's cool to have a lot of options. And I think wrestling's better for that when there's more options and not a monopoly.
I think, and you spoke on this, the attention span and social media, there's so many options there where you can go watch the highlights on YouTube or just one thing. So that, affects the numbers, but that's across the board, in anything.
I miss the signs. That was a big deal for me is going to shows and seeing all these signs. But now you have social media to be your sign. And there's a lot of social media people that wouldn't even hold the sign up that what they're saying on social media, So to me, when the signs went away, that's when wrestling to me kind of started going down because I stopped watching wrestling for years, and then I just recently got back.
I took a break from it myself just because it started getting kind of it was changing. And
when WCW went out, that's when I was like, I'm done for a while.
Yeah, I stayed on for about 4 to 5 more years after that, and I was just done for a while. I don't know, it just started changing. But yeah, the main thing is the lack of competition, like I said before, that kind of hurt things. But it's cool to see AEW pop up and all these other things. Like, they're working with New Japan and Impact and AAA. I love Lucha Libre. I mean, I watch Triple Mania every year. It's fun stuff.
Well, I love, GCW a year ago, nobody knew what it was. The casual fan didn't know what it was, and now it's starting to come up. And a lot of it's because they've opened that door. They're allowing these guys. I mean, Moxley was there this weekend, Ruby Soho, and I think now look at these guys they're popping. Every show they're doing, they're selling out. And again, they're coming to Houston on the 4th. I'll be there. I'm excited. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, and shout out to Stackhouse, man. He's an all-around just great guy.
He is super genuine. And I'm excited. I love watching big men. I think and for his size, the stuff that guy does, he shouldn't be able to do. And
I can't believe he does moonsaults.
He shouldn't be able to do it. But
he does a moonsault off the second rope. He doesn't even go to the top. He does it off the second. That's incredibly hard.
Anybody's size, Guardy couldn't do it.
I can't do anything. I can barely sit here
this long. Doing that,
right?
Now, speaking of people with size, when we were out there at Stampede for UPW, Jason Sullivan moving in and out. We had some crew members there that were working. They were really impressed. They're like, that guy can move. Like Jason Sullivan can move. And then you see someone like Estrella Galactica. I think it was that Jay Davis. That one move, and even the rest, like the people who are watching, it was like, oh my gosh, did this just happen? These different things, these guys of all different sizes just doing crazy things, and also talking about things being fake. With the hits and the slaps and the pops and all that stuff that happens, it's like, I don't want to take that. And anybody goes in there and takes that, you are. You have props.
Yeah. Anybody that says it's fake should just step in the ring and see what they think after that.
Try to get in the ring. I've seen people. And it looks easy. I've seen people trying to get in the ring. I've tried to get in the ring, and it's like, yeah, I guess I can figure this out, kind of deal. I've known multiple people that rip their pants because they're not holding their legs right, and it sounds so easy to get in the ring, but it's a pain in the butt.
Speaking of getting in the ring. Speaking of getting in the ring, a funny $20 man story. He can get in the ring, but he doesn't know how to get out.
What's he do? Just kind of roll out?
He just kind of they help him out. Like the ref will just get the middle rope and sit down, and tell him to get out, but he doesn't know how to get out.
Looking like the Vince McMahon when he got hurt, pulled his quads, and they had to roll him out or kind of drag him out.
Yeah, he can get in, but he can't get out. He's stuck. He just doesn't know what to do.
I only got in the ring at one show, and it's Reality Wrestling was hurting really bad, and they needed an in-ring announcer, and they hit me up and said, would you be interested? I said, of course I'm down, and so I did it, but I was nervous.
It's intimidating, and you do this for a living.
Yes.
They asked me at one point to do announcing when our friend Chevy, shout out, wearing the shirt, was going to the commissioner role, and I was like, I've done this for years. And something about getting in front of wrestling fans, I just didn't want to do. I told Bart, I was like, man, I don't want to announce. There's so many better people out there to do it. And we've got some really great ones now with Abel and Steven. Thank you. You freeze up in front of these fans because if you do something wrong once, we don't forget it. And we will drill you every single show. And it doesn't matter who you are.
That's what you're known for. That's what you're known for.
I love it. I love it. And I have to give you a shout out because you've started something with the whole $20 man where you can't pronounce people's names.
He's just a jerk, dude.
I will call, and I catch people on UPW pages doing it now, and they just messed up Bart's name on purpose. I love it that you call him Bark. Even when you're talking to $20 man in person, I've heard you tell Chevy numerous times. You tell Bark Harris that $20 man says hi. I think that's one of the funniest things, and it's little things that fans do that keep me going in this whole.
At the last show, Chevy walked up to me and said, "Hey, what's up, Chevy Chevrolet? How you doing, brother?"
And you make it a point. You make it a point on your post to make sure everybody's name is spelt incorrectly.
Always.
And words are spelt incorrectly, and you have to look at it. I think it was oh my God, I can't think of her name. Jesse's wife, Nicole. I think it was her one day that shared your page or shared something, maybe tagged you, and that's how I found $20 man. I knew who you were in the crowd. I had no idea what you were about. I knew nothing about you. Yeah. And she said something and tagged you. So I went on that page and I was like, that's the dude from Loco. And I've been mesmerized by the character ever since. So
thanks, man.
Whatever you do, people notice it and it's genuine and it's cool. And everybody I've talked to, I've never heard anybody be like, man, that $20 man's annoying. It's more like that $20 man is about life and he's about wrestling.
It's a unique gimmick. There's nothing like it that I know of, and it's fun to do. And $20 man thinks he's so awesome and so in style, and he's just a narcissist. And he gets everybody's name wrong except for his own, and he gets offended if anybody says his name wrong. It's ridiculous. I have fun with it.
I think he's got great fashion, bro.
Yeah.
Even for Christmas when you dressed up for the December show, he looked good.
Oh yeah, the $20 clause. Yeah.
$20 clause.
Santa 20.
That's
yeah.
good.
I loved it.
Cool.
Yeah, good
Hey,
times.
well, is there anything else that we want to bring up, or anything else you'd like to share, Ryan, before we sew it up today?
Feel free to check out my website. I don't know if I can hold this sheet up, but it's not going to show up because of my green screen. But cartoon-u.com. Give me a follow on Instagram if you just want to see art only and not the wrestling stuff I post all the time. Cartoon Ryan, it's all one word. Cartoon Ryan Instagram. Give me a follow. I'm always begging for followers on there. And then if you want to check me out on Facebook and link up, I take friend requests all the time. Just Ryan Shaw. And I have my profile picture right now is like a drawing of Popeye I did a while back. So you can find me like that. And that's pretty much it. Those are the main two places I post my work besides my website.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for making time.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah.
Today. We appreciate
you guys for having me on. Yeah.
And I'm excited. I have all these ideas in my head. I'm like, oh yeah,
I know
we can work with Ryan.
A few other pieces you're working with Don on, and he shares them. He shares them with me when you send him like little renderings and stuff.
Easily.
And I'm so excited to see his stuff out. I always say he's got the best merch table in the industry by far, better than the professional guys. He's got the best merch table, and he's always changing things. So he's super excited about the stuff you have going for him.
Cool.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy, and I love what he puts out product-wise. It's amazing.
And you add me on it, so it's even better. I'll tell you what. So real quick story. So that last one you did, the picture that you made for him and put Chevy and I on there.
Yeah.
My son was so excited, and he was like, "Daddy, you're on a poster." So I went and bought one, and I had Chevy, and unfortunately I had Johnny sign it. And I bought an extra one, and I was going to hang it in my office at my shop. Well, my son demanded me hang it up in his room, so we put it next to the Paw Patrol picture because he had to see Daddy on his wall with Mr. He loves Chevy too. I think he likes Chevy more than he likes me. So
that's awesome, man.
It's little things like that, man, that keeps me going with wrestling, and knowing that how you are with wrestling is it's amazing. So
thanks, brother. No, I appreciate both of you guys. It's great to be on. Great to be a part of the wrestling community. So many great people in it.
Awesome. All right. Well, Ryan, again, thank you one more time for making time. Anthony, you're awesome as always.
Thank you, brother.
Check out the Gun Vault of Texas and Santa Fe, and UPW is returning.
February 3rd, Pasadena,
Texas. Be there.
I'm ready. Knife on the pole match, hopefully. Bart Harris, make it happen.
Bark. Let's do this. KHEA Radio, 99.5